Welcome to of your AWS DevOps certification. Now, as we progress in today's session, in our learning journey today, we'll proceed ahead in this scenario of this DevOps, and we'll also see how we can automate the configurations and how we can automate the infrastructure setup. So till now, if you think about it, let's say if you wanted to create an EC2 instance. EC2 instance is a compute instance, and if you wanted to create a compute instance, you had to manually create it for each and every region. So let's say you create it in one region, a US South one, and let's say you want to create the similar set of servers for the another region, let's say APJ server. Then in such scenarios, you will have to manually use the console, and from the front end, you will have to set up all the infrastructure. You'll have to set up all the connections. You'll have to set up all the dependencies, each and everything that you have to set it up in a manual way. Now, all this manual work, guys, all this manual work will be definitely a tough to reproduce. Just think about it. Let's say you have generated 100 EC2 instances with its own settings of the network and everything. Now, creating the another 100 for a different region will be a tedious job. And there can be a situations where we are going to do the error or a mistake as well. So in such scenarios, the question that we might have is, okay, can it be automated? Will there be a template where I can use it, where I can declare everything in the template and the infrastructure can be created automatically? Yes. So we've got it in the AWS, and that is what we call it as CloudFormation. So the question that we just have had is like, can our infrastructure, yes, can the infrastructure can be a code? And if it is a code, so using that code, we can create, update, and delete the infrastructure. And that is possible with the help of this AWS CloudFormation service. Now, this AWS CloudFormation is a declarative way of outlining the AWS infrastructure for any resources. Now, the best part is I can say most of the resources that are available in AWS, it is supported by CloudFormation. For example, let's say within a CloudFormation template, you are going to say that you want to create a security group. You want two EC2 instances using the security group, and you want two Elastic IPs for these EC2 machines. You need an S3 bucket, and you also want to add on top of this elastic load balancer in front of all these machines. So if this is the requirement for you, then what you can do is you can create everything as a single template. Once you create it as a single template, then you can update it to the CloudFormation, and this CloudFormation will take care of everything for you. And it is going to do it in the same order as we would specify, and it is going to create the exact configuration that we are going to specify. So that's the best part of this CloudFormation. Now, if I want to talk about the benefits of this AWS CloudFormation service, one, obviously, infrastructure as a code. So as a result of this, I don't have to manually I don't have to manually define any resources. So all the resources will be created automatically. And I can perform the source code control, that is this CloudFormation source code control with the help of Git. And whenever any changes to the infrastructure, it can be reviewed through our code. So this is one of the benefit, that is infrastructure as a code. And coming to the cost. Now, each resource that we will have within the stack is actually staged with an identifier so that we can easily see how much a stack is going to cost us. So let's suppose in my single stack, I'm having two EC2 instances, while on top of that, I'm having elastic load balancer, I'm having an S3 bucket. So here, when I have this stack, which composed of all these resources, so I'm going to get the cost for each stack. So that will help me to get the overall perspective as how much this infrastructure is actually costing me. And the best part is, We can eliminate the cost of the resources using the CloudFormation template, like following a staging strategy. For example, in development system, you can set the deletion, or you can automate the deletion of templates at 5 p.m. and you can get it recreated at 8 a.m. safely. So what it means is, so since the developers are not working 24/7, you can delete those resources when the developers are not available. And once they are available, you can click back and you can ensure that this CloudFormation stack, it's going to create those resources back up by the 5 a.m. So as a result of this, you are saving the cost of these resources. So this is another way how this AWS CloudFormation is going to be benefit for us. Now the question is, how does this CloudFormation is going to work? So what we have to do in the scenario of this CloudFormation is, we'll have to upload it to the S3, and then we will have to reference it in CloudFormation. Now, if I want to update any template, in such scenarios, I cannot edit the previous one. What we have to do, we'll have to upload a new version of the template to my AWS, and you'll see it as we progress in the learning journey. And here, when we talk about this AWS CloudFormation stack, so these stacks are actually identified by a name, and deleting a single stack deletes every single artifact which was actually created by CloudFormation. So once I specify the stack and once I create it, and if I want to delete all the resources, I can say delete the stack, and this will ensure it is going to delete each and every resource which was created and which is present inside that stack. So we don't have to worry about cleanup activity as well. Now, in order for you to get the better understanding on this CloudFormation, so let's go ahead and perform this in a hands-on manner. So in our first hands-on, we are going to see how we can provision the EC2 instances using CloudFormation. And we're also going to see the CloudFormation nested stacks. So let's go ahead and do this activity. So I'll log into my AWS console. I recommend you to do the same thing in case if you want to follow along with me. I'm going to log into my console. Okay, I'm now logged in to my AWS console. So I'll use the old version itself so that you get comfortable on this. Now, when we talk about this scenario that is EC2 provision, the first hands-on is we are going to perform this EC2 provisioning. Now here in the scenario of this EC2 provisioning, we are going to perform the series of steps. Now, what I'm going to do first is, first I'll go to my S3 bucket. Okay. So the first task is for us to log in, and then we'll go to the S3 bucket. So if I go into my S3 bucket, now under this S3 bucket, I've already uploaded a template JSON file. So there's already a template JSON file that I have uploaded right here. I'm going to download this file. Okay, and I'm going to open it for you so that you can understand and you can see this overall description that we have mentioned over here. So if I open that JSON file, this is how the JSON code for my CloudFormation stack would look like. Now there are some key things that you have to remember. Here we've got the key pair. Okay, here we've got the key name. So this key name refers to the EC2 key name, because if I'm provisioning my EC2 instance, I need a key pair. So that key pair name that I'll have to mention over here. For example, here it says WizLabs keys. Now you can get the key pairs by going to the EC2 services. I'll go to the EC2 and I can create my own key pair as well. So I'm going to say key pair. I'll say create key pair demo -keys. Now I'm going to change it to .pem. Okay, I'm going to create key pair. So now instead of that, I can replace it with my own key pair. I can say instead of this, I'll mention my own key pair. So always remember this key pair that we would specify. So this key pair, it should be the name of the existing EC2 key pair. And here we've got the instance type. Now this instance type, it is actually a web server EC2 instance type, and it should be a valid EC2 instance type. In our scenario, we are using the T2.micro, which is a valid EC2 instance type. Next, we have specified the SSH location. So SSH location is nothing but the IP address range, which can be used to SSH into the EC2 instances. So here, whenever we are specifying the range, so ensure that you mention the valid IP CIDR range for the form. So just ensure that you mention the valid CIDR range. And then we've got the HTTP location. So here, this HTTP location refers to the IP address range that can be used for HTTP traffic to my EC2 instances. So this is my HTTP location. Next, we've got ICMP location. So here, this refers to the IP address range that can be used for the ICMP traffic to my EC2 instances. And if I come further down, okay, if I come further down, we've got AWS instance type 2 architecture. It provides the architecture type for EC2 instances. Architecture type I'm using is HVM64. Okay. And then if I come further down here, it says like AWS region ARC2 AMI. It provides the region, okay, and the AMI details of the EC2 instances. So like I'm providing the region that is US East 1, and I'm providing each and every information of my AMI, okay. The Amazon machine image, so that is the details that I'm specifying over here. And if I come further down, we've got EC2 instance itself. Okay, now here, this EC2 instance has the details of the EC2 instance to be provisioned. It tells us this is the EC2 instance that I have to provision, and it contains the instance type. And this instance type is being referred from the above, and instance security group. And we are using the key name. And along with that, we are also specifying the image ID by referring to the AMI ID that we have mentioned earlier. Okay, so this is how we are specifying. Now for the security groups, we have mentioned this instance security group.